Valve just revealed the pricing for the Steam Machine, and you may be able to order one this month, but it's just a little bit pricey. In today's video, let's go over the unfortunate reality of the Steam Machine, why so many people are disappointed, but the silver lining surrounding all of this, not just for Valve, but for PC gamers everywhere. Hello everybody, it's your boy Jmulls, and we didn't even get Half-Life 3. So what even is a Steam Machine? Well, I'm glad you asked, voice in my head. The Steam Machine is a PC. That is what it is. It is not a console, but it's designed to give you a console-like experience. But at the end of the day, it is a PC. It doesn't run Windows. You could always just get Windows on it, but it comes with SteamOS, Valve's own Linux distro. And a lot of people have been looking forward to the Steam Machine for a couple of reasons. One, like we just said, it doesn't come out of the box with Windows. And with a lot of people becoming increasingly dissatisfied with the state of Windows and Linux just getting better and better, a lot of people want to jump the ship. And also people want other people to get on board with Linux to increase its popularity and put even more pressure on Microsoft. But one of the main ways Valve is trying to sell the Steam Machine is that it's a small, about a 6-inch cube that you can just chuck into your living room and play your PC game library on your big screen. And with the way that Steam and SteamOS is set up, if you want to treat it like a traditional console, there is a user interface for that experience. I own a Steam Deck. The Steam Deck uses SteamOS. I'm a big fan of it. There is a market of people that want that experience in their living room or just as their main PC or as a supplemental PC. And if you want to treat it like a regular PC, you can just boot into a Linux desktop. But we all know why you clicked on this video, and it's this right here, and that is the price point of the Steam Machine. There are 4 different models you can get. 2 with a controller, 2 without. At 512 gigabytes of storage, it comes equipped at a price point of $1,050. Throw in a controller and that goes all the way up to $1,128. We go to 2 terabytes of storage and that shoots the price up to $1,349. Throw in a controller with that model and it's $1,428. That is very pricey. And for a lot of people that were hoping that the Steam Machine might compete with a traditional console market like a PlayStation, an Xbox, or even a Nintendo, being priced higher than a PS5 Pro is not ideal, especially for the power it's bringing to the table. It's not overtly weak or anything like that, but when you're advertising 4K gaming at 60 FPS with FSR, and it's the year 2026, I think a lot of people are expecting it to be way better than just being comparable to a base PS5. And granted, this is only one example on this one video, but there are a lot of other numbers going around out there. I wouldn't call it unusably weak or anything like that. That would be absurd. But even if you shop around like the pre-built scene for PC gaming, and you look for a pre-built PC, in this price range specifically, you can find some decent stuff, especially if those pre-builds go on sale. And sure, you can argue the Steam Machine is new, but to a lot of consumers, especially ones that are budget-oriented, they're just going to want the best value. They're going to want the most power for their buck. And I think for that market, the Steam Machine is, I wouldn't call it overly terrible, especially considering just how rampantly high prices are right now for PC components, but still, this is a lot of money. And Valve is at a disadvantage, especially when compared to other consoles. And this is why I call it the unfortunate reality surrounding the Steam Machine. Because this price isn't ideal at all, but I can understand how we got here. At the bottom of the page is an FAQ. Is this the Valve console? We think of Steam Machine as an extension of PC gaming, not as a console. And to be fair to Valve, even from the beginning when it comes to the Steam Machine, they weren't subtle about this. The traditional console model is to sell the hardware at a loss and make up the revenue with subscription services or by selling games that are locked into the hardware. Basically the concept of a loss leader. Think of like going to Costco and the rotisserie chicken is very low, but the price is like that because they want to incentivize you to come into the place, and then hopefully you'll be convinced to buy other products. Then they can make their money back and then some. So while not every console does this, the general MO is to sell the console itself at a loss and then make your money back on all the purchases people will do because they're locked into your ecosystem. We think this could make sense for a single business in the short term, but that open ecosystems are better for customers over the long term. PC gaming's history proves this. The openness of the PC gaming space has enabled it to be the primary driver of hardware and software innovations for decades. The strength of PC gaming is the ability to play the games you want on the hardware you want. Steam Machine is a solution to these problems, and we think it's a great one. I would hope so. But it's not the only solution, and we don't want it to be. So again, I can understand their way of thinking, and I can also understand they're getting absolutely absolutely screwed over by market conditions right now. Understanding that, most people are going to look at this price and say it's too high. And for the people hoping that the Steam machine would be able to be active competition for PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, this doesn't position the Steam machine in a way, in my opinion, where it's going to be able to fulfill that role. I think it's going to have a niche audience, but a passionate audience, much like the Steam Deck. But I highly doubt it's going to sell like a PlayStation or a Switch 2, something like that. Now, are there advantages to the Steam machine compared to a traditional console? Yes. You get the benefits of PC gaming, you get access to things like Steam sales, you don't have to pay a subscription for online multiplayer, though depending upon the anti-cheat, that might be an issue in of itself because of SteamOS, but there are advantages to just being on PC compared to a console. I agree with that because I am primarily a PC gamer. And when it comes to the PC market itself, this further feels like Valve trying to target a niche audience here. They're trying to target people that are disenchanted with Windows and just want to be off that platform and just want any excuse to do that. People who already probably have a substantial Steam library, who maybe also have a Steam Deck that love that hardware and then want something for the living room. Just a small box they can throw in a corner onto really anywhere they want, and they can just play their PC game library like it's a traditional console. There is an audience of people out there that want those things. I don't think it's a mainstream audience, but when it comes to servicing that audience in particular, I think the price point is also a bit of an issue, because depending upon the time when you actually buy a new PC, you can get PCs, especially pre-built PCs, on sale in this price range that are pretty dang good. And if for whatever reason you don't want to mess with like Linux, those pre-builds are probably going to be coming with Windows. For some people, that'll be viewed as a negative, funnily enough, but for a lot of other people, it won't. At the end of the day, for a lot of people, convenience is king. And if your response to all of this is to just say, hey, I can just build my own PC, you're probably not going to be the intended audience for something like the Steam machine to begin with. But then if you're just saying, hey, I can just go buy a pre-build, well, that mentality kind of encroaches upon the value proposition the Steam machine is trying to bring to the table. It brings other things to the table as well, but are they enough? I think for some people it will be. For a lot of others, it won't be. Personally, I think that's fine, because I think there's one massive silver lining to the Steam machine that deserves to be talked about, and that makes me excited for this release, despite the fact I'm almost certainly not going to be picking one of these up. Let's talk SteamOS. Man, 512 gigabytes of storage is not a lot with today's games, but I want to focus on this right here, SteamOS 3. This to me is why the Steam machine is so significant. Not because this thing is going to sell millions and millions and millions of units. I think it'll be fine as a niche product, but it is a step on the road, it isn't the destination. What do I mean by this? If we scroll down on the Steam machine page, and we go all the way down past the FAQ, or more specifically to the final question here, we have a question that seems rather whatever on the surface, but the answer reveals Valve's long game, and it's a long game that can absolutely change everything for the future of PC gaming and also for PC gamers. That sounds lofty, but I also don't think it's an exaggeration. Question: if I don't get a Steam machine right away, is there anything else I can do? Answer: thanks to the openness of the PC platform, there are lots of options for devices that will allow you to run games natively or streamed to your TV. There are many PC sites and communities out there that can help you with that. Now for the juice. For our part, we are continuing to work towards enabling SteamOS to be used on more hardware than just ours. In fact, with the newly released SteamOS 3.8, you can run the same code and operating system as Steam Machine on your own living room PC using whatever PC parts you want. Learn more here. You may have seen some articles over the last, well, long while at this point, of them getting SteamOS to work on different handheld PCs, like the Lenovo Legion Go S, and they have beta SteamOS support on these things, right? Especially AMD discrete GPUs. Let's expand on that. Right now, only AMD GPUs are supported, but we're working on expanding support for the future. That is Valve revealing their hand. Sure, it may be a long way off, but if they can get SteamOS into a really functioning state where it's seamless and there aren't significant performance issues using things like non-AMD hardware, especially NVIDIA GPUs, if they can get SteamOS and Linux gaming to that state and have SteamOS be a legit competitor for PC gaming to Windows and Windows 11 or whatever Microsoft shoves out the door next, that gives us way more competition than what we currently have. We have already seen Windows feel the heat from the small market share but growing market share that Linux has right now. If that can further further and continue, and Steam can get SteamOS into a functioning state onto a wide range of hardware, where even a casual mainstream audience will look at something like SteamOS and say, hey, I kind of want to get in on that. If we can get to that day, then that puts a boot up Microsoft's pants and hopefully spurs them into further action to better that OS, but also gives the consumer, us, PC gamers, more options for OS and a way to ditch Windows if we really want to, particularly without compromise. If you're tech-oriented, you can already pretty much do this. But like we said before, convenience is king. People don't want to fiddle, they don't want to tinker, they want a box, they want to unbox the box, they want to plug it in, they want to play their games, they want it to work. SteamOS and the Steam Deck are really good at that. Not all the way there, but they're really good at that. And if things can continue to improve and they can get compatibility up and up and up, and gaming on Linux as a result of things like Proton continues to improve, and if they can do something about the anti-cheat issue with a lot of multiplayer games, there is a future out there where SteamOS will have far larger market share than what it currently does. And I think that future is better for us as gamers. Which is why, to me, yeah, the Steam machine itself as a singular entity is not all that compelling, but what it can represent for the future is Valve continuing to refine SteamOS, and in the background, get compatibility up, continue to tinker with the OS, make it better, and if we can actually get to that future, that'll be a massive thumbs up for me. So here's where you come in. Leave a comment down below with your thoughts on the Steam machine. Is it too pricey for you? Do you still want to pick one up? And what do you hope to see out of Valve in the future? I would love to hear your thoughts, hear your opinions, and hear your perspectives. And while you're down there, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out and helps support future content, and I greatly appreciate it. And you guys may not know this about me, but I love Xenoblade. And with the announcement of Xenoblade Genesis, I reacted to your guys' fan theories about what's going to happen in the game. Want to find out more and see the crazy theories you guys have? Check out this video right here. Thank you all for tuning in. Stay safe. Have a great day. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Until we meet again.